My brain is just looking for any excuse in the world to not do a task, and so it just doesn't. So I have ADHD. I don't know if you've ever been able to tell. I feel like I hide it really, really well. And that makes being a maker pretty difficult, because I feel like with ADHD, any little roadblock becomes a reason to not make stuff. And when I say little reasons, I mean teeny tiny stupid reasons. I have very small sewing projects that I need to get done, but the roadblock that's getting in my way is changing the thread on my sewing machine. It's a really stupid roadblock. But I also know that I'm not alone. I think especially with women, regardless of whether or not you actually have ADHD, I know there are plenty of us out there that quickly become overwhelmed by anything and everything. And lately, I feel like it is hit extra hard because I unintentionally took a short break, which then became a much longer break. And anytime that ever happens, the spiral is less than fun to get out of. Now, I don't know about you guys, but when I get into these spirals, it's very easy for my workspace to become even more messy than it normally is. And any idea that I thought I had about things to share with you all, or things just to make on my own to make me happy, never feel good enough. And then the guilt sets in. It's feeling guilt over setting big goals for the year and not getting close to having those accomplished by the end of the year. It is guilt over feeling guilty. Like, nobody's pressuring me to do anything. This is all my own doing. And it's over stupid things like making stuff. But adding all those things together just puts this weight on my shoulders, and then I can't get off the couch because I'm weighted down by all of the things that my brain needs to focus on, apparently. Maybe all that's just me, but I doubt it. So rather than do a big one project video today, I'm actually going to take you guys with me as I get things off of my checklist. None of these are super important, nor are they big giant projects necessarily, but in accomplishing them, I will have things off of my checklist. So here are some things that we are going to work on today. I'm going to put buttons on a coat. I haven't done it yet. I've been meaning to do that one for probably 2 or 3 months. I have one coat that I need to move the pocket. I've already detached the pocket and pinned it where it's supposed to go, but I didn't reattach it because I had to change the thread in my sewing machine. That was my big roadblock. My hair keeps getting in my mouth. I started making a pretty simple robe. I want to get the sleeves sewn onto the body. I'm not even going to try and finish it today. I just want to get the sleeves sewn on. I do have a leather sewing machine back here that I would like to get posted on Facebook Marketplace. Whenever I think about that, all kinds of roadblocks jump up in my head, but I just need to get it done and see what happens. A pretty silly one is that our dogs, both present and past dogs, have managed to wear holes into their dog couch. So I've got plenty of upholstery fabric. I think I might take some of it inside and just put a layer, like a patch, over the holes. My big roadblock for this is I don't want to take the cushion covers off and make a whole new cover, so why don't I just put a patch over it? And nothing says it can't be a big patch over the entire top of the cushion, so I think I'm going to try and do that. So I would like to make a jersey jumpsuit, so maybe today we can just get started. And then if I'm feeling even more, productive, motivated, whatever, maybe I can get some extra stuff added to coffee. So while I'm working on all of those things, I'm going to bring you guys along and we will talk about kind of where my brain gets stuck. Maybe you can identify with this and maybe you can't. And we'll talk about some ways that I try to work through it, and then some ways that I just let it happen and have that be that. I think we'll start with buttons in the pocket, get those done, and then I can check it off my list. So not only do I need to put a natural color thread in this, but I need to wind up a bobbin. And for some reason, that is always kind of a sticking point. I can't explain it other than my brain is just looking for any excuse in the world to not do a task. And so it just doesn't. We're gonna use this to wind up the bobbin. I have a smaller thing that I will use for the upper thread. You know, I feel like a lot of my hesitation is often my brain just going, I'm tired, I am decisioned out, I don't want to make any more decisions, I don't want to be in charge of anything anymore. So if it takes one more thing to get a task done, we're just not going to do it. That sucks. Sometimes I think it's a protective thing. I think that my brain's going, hey, you need to chill out a lot. But I also think that it protects me from the wrong things. Like, let's use that mindset to put up some healthy boundaries between home and work, not to put up boundaries between me and the things that I want to make. Brain. Really exciting content. I know there's an easier way to do this, but I don't know what that way is. So if you have any suggestions, put them down below. Because I would much rather use these big spools and just refill everything with them. But if I have to hold them like this, it gets pretty annoying after a while. Surprisingly, what isn't a roadblock for me is that it's freezing in here. Regardless of how much insulation I've put in here, I'm still working in a shed. It's gonna be cold. Now, I do have a heater. I'm not running it super hot right now, but I will probably crank it up here in a few minutes because my fingies are starting to get cold. But shockingly, that's typically not a roadblock for me. However, today was pretty close because I think I woke up and it was like 50 degrees in here, which is a little chilly. All right, let's get this thing rethreaded and start sewing some stuff on. We are rethreaded. I'm gonna sew the pocket on first, which means I have to move you guys out of the way because you are taking up the only clear space I have on my desk. So move. Pocket's done. Buttons and buttonholes. Okay, I said buttonholes, but that would require my buttonhole foot. Aha, which is right here. And I need to decide what buttons I want to use. This looks like a hodgepodge of buttons. So this is where I would probably go, forget it, I'm just gonna do something else because I don't want to spend 10 minutes trying to figure out what buttons to put on when I could probably super easily just grab a bunch of red buttons or blue buttons that I have and throw it on there. So I'm gonna grab a bunch of red buttons or blue buttons, probably blue buttons, and put it on here. I went to go grab my red buttons and I forgot that there's no lid on it and they fell in my face. Okay, but we're gonna do red buttons instead because the blue ones were too small. So we just need to find 4 matching red buttons in my red button stash. We're gonna use these guys. Why not? I found myself freezing for a few minutes trying to figure out how I wanted to put in the buttonholes. Whether it's the right thing or wrong thing to do, I do the buttonholes first before I do buttons because you can move the buttons around a lot easier than you can move buttonholes around. They tend to be pretty permanent. But I found myself pausing a little bit because while I have the position for my buttons marked already, I hesitated. I wasn't sure whether buttonholes on coats are horizontal or vertical. I think they're horizontal. I'm gonna do horizontal. And then where should the outer edge of the buttonhole land? Because I wanna make sure that it overlaps with where the button is, but just talking it through right now, buttons are interchangeable. They're easily adjustable. Stop thinking so much about it and just put the damn buttonholes in. That's where I'm at. To whoever owned this blanket before I picked it up at a thrift store, your house must smell amazing all the time. And that's coming from somebody who picks up a lot of thrifted blankets that don't often smell very good. I don't know what fabric softener you use or what detergent you're using, but even after I washed it in my own detergent in my own washing machine, it just smells fantastic. Kudos to whoever donated this. It smells delicious. So I'm just marking where the buttons are gonna go and making sure that when I close it up, there's enough overlap where it's not gonna gape wide open and that it fits, you know, around the chest and the hips and all that jazz. Do you like my mousse? This is a lot harder than it seems. Is that drawn on my shirt? No. Got where my buttons should go. I'm going to machine sew them on. Get you a machine that can not just do buttonholes, but also buttons. It's magic. And then this one will also be off my to-do list. That is a buttonhole foot. No, it's not. So that's a button foot, and it makes attaching buttons super easy and fast. Buttons are done, I think. They're done. They just need to make sure that they're right. But that's cool because I've been wanting to wear this for a while. It certainly makes the mousse look a little abbreviated, but that's okay. When it's open, it works. Ta-da! Love it. There we go. 2 things off the list in under an hour. I wish my overwhelmed brain could remember that, but it doesn't. Now I can either wear this jacket or I can try to sell it. And then the long coat, it was one of the first ones I ever made, so it's just not up to the standards I would want for selling it, but I will probably put it in my tote of things to take to family over Christmas. I'm just kind of collecting all the handmade things that I've done that aren't quite sellable, but somebody should use them. And I keep making things, so I will have plenty of things of my own. It's freezing in here, like I said, and it's almost lunchtime. So I'm actually thinking, why don't I get some of my upholstery fabric, take it inside. I've got some curved needles around here as well. Maybe have some lunch and just experiment with putting a big patch on the couch cushions and just see how that goes. Can warm up my fingers a little bit and maybe my toes, and then I can come back out later and we can continue working on things. So I keep all of my upholstery fabric up here, and I have what I feel like is a ton of it. Something will be right. I'm not sure what something, but something's gonna be right. And I'm thinking the couch is green. I do have a roll of green back here. It won't last as long as what's been on the sofa already, but even if it makes a little bit of a difference, I think that'll help. So that roll is like hidden back here, and boy, do I want to just throw my hands up and go, no big deal. I'm not gonna do it right now because I have to take this down and I have to take this down. But we are going to persevere today because I said so. Or, I don't know if I've got enough. Ow! What about that? That would be super pretty. There's definitely not enough to do the whole couch, but if I'm just doing the tops of the cushions, I think this will be great. I'm gonna do this. Let me show you the cushions from our dog couch so that you get kind of an idea of what I'm talking about. So we have cushion number 1, we have cushion number 2, and if Grumpy Pants will move, cushion number 3 is under there. Grace, why do you tear up our couch? You're so cute, you are. We also have this back here, because that's where they lay the most, but I don't know how to fix that. We've also learned as these guys get older and they get arthritis back here, it's harder to jump up on the couch. So we just put a cushion on the floor and then they go boop, 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 boop. It's their couch, whatever. So we're gonna try and fix this and see if it works. You may also be saying, well, just flip them over. That's why they have 2 sides. Got one, and it's worse. But we've had this set for probably 15 years and it has gone through 5 or 6 dogs. So I think it's made by Broyhill, maybe Lazy Boy. Lazy Boy. So I'm still pretty impressed because structurally they're great, but I've just gotta replace the upholstery here. Thanks, Lazy Boy, for probably the best dog couch ever. 30 by 25 and a half. Remember that. I left all of my notes outside, but I do remember that one of the things I was going to talk about was what I have managed to accomplish in my time away from you guys. It doesn't seem like much, but I did sign up for another craft market. It is December 15th, which I think is going to be an excellent time. I have also, it's hard to cut and talk at the same time. I also have really been thinking about what I'm gonna offer. I'm actually pretty excited about my plans for it. I am going to really narrow down the things that I make available, but try to make them a little more enticing, I guess. I have a new bag pattern that I have been making. It's really simple, but I love simple bags. So it is right up my alley with that. I'm gonna use that guy. Some thread. This is like upholstery thread that is equal parts my hair, apparently. Ew. However, up until recently, I had kind of stopped making bags for a really stupid reason. I hate making straps for bags. Just befuddles me every time. It seems like that should be the easiest thing to do. Maybe because it's easy, I don't like it or something. I don't know, but has never been my favorite thing. What I decided to do was I ordered some fun webbing off of Amazon to use for straps. I ordered the right size hardware for it at the same time. And when it all came in and it was shiny and new, my brain got that little dopamine hit. So I sat on the couch and I just cut out the appropriate lengths, pinned all of the hardware to it, and then the next day I went in and sewed everything together. In one evening, basically, I made 10 different straps. So that was a big, like, whew, off of my brain. And now I think what I'm going to do for this new craft fair is I'm going to have the bag bodies there. You can pick which strap you want, which kind of gives it a little bit of customization. I mean, I would think that's pretty fun. I don't know if anybody else is going to think it's fun. But you pick the body of your bag, you pick the strap that you want, and then you pick like a keychain to go with it. So I think that'll be kind of neat. And I'm excited to pilot that at the next craft fair. All right, I've never done upholstery anything before, so you're gonna have to forgive me if this turns out to be really ugly, but it is what it is. You know, we're not going for super aesthetic here. We're going for like utilitarian and trying not to be super ugly. That's what we're doing here. Now, if I were trying to do this for real, I would have maybe more carefully measured this and then sewn this down ahead of time. But that's not what we're doing right now. We're just looking to see if this is actually gonna work. We'll come back in and do it the right way next time. I'm going to turn on something to watch or listen to, and I'm gonna work on this. So I will talk to you guys later. Bye. So I have finished cushion 1. It took a little over an hour, I think, because I wasn't real sure what I was doing. And I had lunch. So I'm moving on to cushion number 2. I did discover that the other side of this cushion hasn't been ruined yet. So I'm just going to turn that one over. And I only have to do 2, as long as I don't turn one of the other ones over. Oh, and this one's actually fine on the other side, but I'm going to go ahead and recover this second one because I think it needs it. So what actually led to the small break, which turned into the large break? You know, it was nothing that was big. Sometime in October, I think, or maybe even early September, I actually broke my hard drive that had all of my video data on it, including 3 videos that I was working on, which also included a video for a brand collaboration. So that was kind of the first kick in the pants, I guess. I ordered a new hard drive, but I don't know. I was finding it really difficult to kind of get going again. If you've never looked into data recovery, it is so ridiculously expensive. It was like $100 a gigabyte, but I probably had 2 terabytes on there worth of stuff. So it was going to end up being thousands of dollars to try to recover any of it. That was a low point, I think. I was able to get the Halloween Yip Yips video out. That is something I've been looking forward to doing for years. So I was really happy to get to do it this year. But once I was done with that, it just kind of spiraled. And then on top of all of that, I kept coming up with ideas, but none of them were super exciting, at least to me. I've watched enough videos from bigger content creators that talk about burnout and running out of ideas that they are excited about. And every time I hear that, I'm like, well, it may not be exciting to you, but I'm sure to me it would be exciting. But it's so difficult to remember when you're the one making the stuff. And to tie it back into the ADHD part, my brain chases dopamine. And so if an idea comes to me and I am not able to execute the idea, then it's like an itch that you can't scratch. I never get that dopamine hit to go along with that. If I come up with an idea that I'm not super interested in, there's no dopamine to chase. It's just a check, I did something and it was fine. Training myself to do the idea rather than chase after that like dopamine hit is a good learning experience from all of this, I guess. So I'm going to, I think, put out a couple of videos that maybe I'm not super excited about, but I think somebody will be, and they'll be there for anybody who is interested. I also have one that I need to just get edited. Again, I was working on it when I lost all that data, and I didn't lose it, thankfully, but just all of that stuff kind of happening at the same time. Found it really hard to edit that video. So I'm going to try to edit that one to come after this one. We're moving along, we're being productive, you know, that's all we can ask for right now. So I'm going to finish this cushion up, take the dogs outside, and we'll see what else there is to work on. Anyway, enough of my rambling. I will see you guys when I'm done with this. So just to further highlight the power that I guess ADHD has on me sometimes, I was sitting down to edit this video and I remembered that my computer is out in my workshop. I've already changed and I have to either put it off till tomorrow or I need to go back out into the cold and go get it. And I don't want to do either of those things. I'll probably go out and get it, but I don't want to. I'm forcing myself. But my cushions look good. Gracie approves, right? Welcome to day 2. Is it any surprise to anybody that I did not come back out here to get my laptop, which means that I did not empty my SD card and I did not start editing? No surprises. No, instead, I sat on the couch and worked on things that had no bearing on this video whatsoever, which is fine, except I was really trying to be productive yesterday. I'm really winning. The last thing that I want to talk about in my glimpse behind my ADHD brain is scraps. I have complained about scraps before. I feel like ad nauseum. I both absolutely love and absolutely abhor scraps because my little magpie brain just goes, I can use that. I can use it. I can use that too. Whereas I think my larger lizard brain goes, just throw it away. It's trash. Throw it away. But I can't. I cannot seem to throw away anything that I might even sort of think could be useful. Let me give you some examples. Most people would look at this and say it's trash, because it is. But my brain, in the let's chase as much dopamine as possible sort of sense, goes, well, you could make earrings, you know, the little dangly ones that flop around. I'm not gonna do that, but I'm gonna keep it because I think I'm gonna make it. Something like this. It's small. But it's useful. Look, I could make a strap out of this, like a really small one, or a bracelet. And let's not even talk about fabric scraps. Actually, let's talk about fabric scraps. I took this off of a pajama set. It is a collar. And my full intention was to make a pattern piece out of this. That was 8 months ago, and it just sits. Because if I put it away somewhere, then I won't be able to see it to remind me to make a pattern piece out of it. So instead of just making the damn pattern piece, it just sits. This has been on the floor for 4 months. Super cute. I was gonna make a rice bag out of it, but it was on the floor. Just make the damn bag. Headband prototype. It's not something I'm gonna wear, but I see the ties and I want to keep the ties and then use the fabric again for what? I don't know. I don't know, but it was on the floor and I haven't taken it apart because I have a problem. I tell you what, let's make the pattern piece and let's take this guy apart and actually do something with it. I'll be productive right now. I've also had this piece of canvas sitting in a bag in my kitchen on the floor for months. So now I get to actually use it to make a pattern piece. So thank you for being here to witness this. All right, I have a collar pattern piece. Now I can throw this thing away. Crap. Hey. So even in making the pattern piece for this, I did end up with a scrap of canvas. On a scale of 1 to 10, how strong do you think my inclination is to save that little scrap of fabric? It's a 10. But I'm not going to. I'm gonna throw it away. And I'm not gonna go after it. I'm gonna go push it down a little bit more. Okay, for real, I'm not going after it. Character development. So by no means is this a comprehensive look at what it is like inside my head, trying to manage being a maker with the chaos of my brain. But maybe it gives you a little bit of insight. Maybe you can identify with some of it, because I know that there are more of me out there. And honestly, just making this video has forced me to do a bunch of things that were on my to-do list. So maybe I need to make them more often to kind of pressure myself into getting things done. I should probably do it with housework, but I don't want to. So hopefully you have found this somewhat interesting or enlightening or boring, I don't know. If you have any feelings about this whatsoever, give it either a thumbs up or a thumbs down so that I know how you're feeling about it. And don't forget to subscribe because I put out new videos about stuff like this fairly often. It'll be more often now, I promise. And gear up because I do have some holiday content coming right at you. So that's it for now. I will see you guys next time. Bye. I do have a joke for you. What side of the turkey has the most feathers? The outside. That's it. That's all my jokes. Okay, bye.